Okay, so I have an announcement to start us off on this new
Okay.
season. Yeah,
All right. Let's hear this out.
it's more of an update. So the
Okay.
update is that Amun still does not have a PS5.
Oh my God. Leave
I
me
just
alone. Okay.
wanted,
I don't.
I just wanted to start us off, and I'm sure maybe I'll clip
This is.
like the last, episode that we did about you saying that you're going to get one. It's been half a year or something.
It's been. I'm pretty sure it's been more than a year now.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's been more
So
than a year. Yeah.
yeah. So there's
Yeah.
no more
It is
backlog.
what it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sony has the supply chain has been sorted out, but here we are today. It's all good.
Hey, I just
Anyway,
don't have the time. That's all.
that's fair. Busy man.
I have
Busy
bigger
man.
fish to fry right now.
Okay. Okay. Well, we have many fish to fry today.
That's
Um,
true. That's true.
yeah.
It's
So
been so long.
yeah, I'm gonna give you I'm gonna give you a few options, stuff to talk
Okay.
about.
Let's hear that.
I don't think we've got time for. Well, we haven't planned a full episode topic, so it'll be like
Bit of
just
everything.
a little bit of a lot of things, and then we can dive deep in future episodes. Okay, so I'll give you some choices, and you can pick what we can start with. Okay,
All
so
right.
we can start with. Well, I'll give you the options. So you've got the state of Twitter.
Yep.
We've got the state of AI,
Yep.
and we've got the state of EVs.
Oh, I completely
Yeah.
forgot about the movies.
Mm.
Uh,
A lot has changed since we
these are
last.
definitely the.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
So
Yep. Yep.
there's more, but those are the three main ones. Yeah, what would you like to start with? And you can propose some extras if you
I
like.
like. I had Twitter and AI in my mind, so I didn't know about
Mm.
the EV one. But
Mm.
maybe let's start in a positive note. So let's
Okay.
go with the EV, and
Okay.
then
Okay.
we can sort of delve into Twitter
Mm.
if we
Mm.
wanna go bit sour in the middle, and then
Yeah.
we can go into our AI stuff
Okay.
at the end.
Okay.
How about that?
Mm. All right.
Easy.
Well, we've
EV.
we've done
What?
we have a previous episode talking about EVs.
Oh yeah,
Um,
we do. We do.
and I think it was a very different time then. I think there was maybe one big fish, which is Tesla, and
Yeah.
then everyone else is trying to catch up. Yeah, and a few other brands, Polestar, Rivian, that they're still making their way to, you know, being household names. But we've got
Yeah.
some very well-known brands that are doing some pretty cool things now.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts right now? What's the state?
Right now,
Mm,
thoughts. I think America is in a good position. Australia is slowly getting there. So
mm,
Australia and UK slowly getting there. Europe sort of getting a bit into regulations and forcing a lot of these companies to create EVs, right? It's
mm.
definitely helping that EV agenda being pushed forward. Um, I think the top names right now that I have in my mind is Hyundai.
Mm,
Uh, they've been doing really well. Kia have been doing really well. Uh, Audi has sort of gotten a fair bit into the EV side of things.
mhm.
Mercedes is looking into EV, a bit
Yeah.
of BMW.
Mm,
Uh, so basically, all your big manufacturers are looking into EV at the moment,
yeah. Yeah.
and they have at least one car at the moment that's sort of running on EV.
Mm, yeah.
It could be even a shit car, but even then, there's some really good options out there.
Yeah.
Do you do you out of all the EV right now that's out, what is
Yeah.
your biggest like? Which one would you prefer to purchase if you had to purchase right now?
Um, I I like Polestar.
Mm,
I like Polestar. I think that's under Volvo.
yeah,
Um, I like what Hyundai is doing. I like what Kia is doing.
yeah,
Um, I'm still waiting for a few brands to, really get serious about it. So like Mazda, I haven't seen anything from them.
yeah.
And surprisingly Ford. Well, Ford has the
Mark one. Oh,
Mustang.
sorry, Maki. Sorry,
Yeah,
yeah. Mustang
Mustang, and they've
Maki.
got
Yep.
the truck, I think F-150, the Lightning. Yeah. And that's
Yeah.
like this is not the kind of I don't unless you're in America, they're not like everyday cars. You're not gonna see that. So I feel like they make good cars, so it'll be good to see them make like a just like a hatch, or like a sedan that's like targeted towards middle class, but really it's like for upper class people. I guess most EVs right now is not, yeah, it's not yet middle class kind of um
Yeah.
prices,
Not affordable at the
but it's
moment.
getting there. Yeah.
Definitely. Definitely. But do you
Mm.
reckon it poses a good challenge to Tesla, or is Tesla even a good option at the moment?
Um, well, I'll answer that with a question, and I'll
Okay.
say like, what does Tesla provide that these other brands not provide at this point?
I'd say they only provide one thing and one
Mm-hmm.
thing that's good compared to other brands, but
Mm-hmm.
everything else is dog shit in front of the other
Yeah.
brands.
What is the one thing?
So that one thing is their tech,
Mm.
uh, their infotainment center. That's the one
Yeah.
thing. But
Mm.
at the same time, I do feel now they're overdoing it as well.
Okay.
There's a lot of gimmicks and a lot of impractical stuff that they're adding through into the car,
Yeah.
which might not be the best way to go about, especially for your day-to-day consumer.
Mm. I'm surprised you said infotainment because I actually don't know what they have. I mean, all they have, you can like play games and you can, I
Yeah,
think I don't know if they really provide anything more than I would want from like everything that Apple CarPlay has is probably all you need, really. So,
I
or
think one
or Android
thing
Auto,
with
like what are they?
I think one thing that they do provide that's really good is how quick and snappy their infotainment
Mm,
system is. I
okay.
think
Yeah.
one thing that so in past week or so, I've sort of gone checked out a few cars, right, recently.
Yeah.
And one of the biggest things, or one of the biggest flaws that I see with the current market is they don't invest anything on the centers.
Mm, yeah.
It's quite laggy, quite old tech. It's it's just not up to the standards where it should be. I
Yeah.
think Hyundai is one brand that's actually doing fairly well on
Mm-hmm.
that perspective, and it sort of provides you everything that you sort of require. So it has a snappy software. But then when you look at German manufacturers, so your Mercedes, your BMW, all of these manufacturers, they are still lacking at this. They have like ancient tech at this point.
Mm, yeah. I don't know why they do that because like the rest of the car is so good and they're
Yep.
just choosing to stay in the past for just that small part of um the car, which makes a big difference. Yeah, I
100%.
have you seen this thing that Apple kind of they announced maybe a year or two ago, but hasn't really gone into any cars yet, where CarPlay is integrated into everything. So like the um infotainment, but also like the what is the display called in front of you? Um,
The dashboard,
yeah, and
uh,
that as well.
the
That's
dashboard,
all.
right?
That's
Yeah,
all CarPlay. Um,
yeah,
so that looks pretty interesting. I'm waiting for something like that to happen. They have started. So in EVs, you can only check for nearby charge stations using their own infotainment, like CarPlay or Google Maps. Android Auto doesn't know about that, so a
yeah,
few companies now have a way of telling CarPlay where the charging stations are. So that's a step in the right direction, but it's not really full integration yet. I think they're a bit nervous
Yeah.
to give control over everything to
Yeah.
Apple and to
I,
Google.
yeah, I
But
think that's rightfully so as well.
mm,
Sorry, you continue. I'll tell you my point after that.
no, I forgot what I was going to say, so you can carry
Sorry.
on.
But yeah, basically, what I think is they should be cautious. See, it's a
Mm,
step in the right direction, and they definitely should get the experts to sort of do the software and the hardware side of things for these
mm,
infotainment centers. I think that way car manufacturers can just worry about manufacturing cars, and they can leave all the tech side to these guys, right?
mm,
But there needs to be a point where the car manufacturers needs to be like, okay, this is all the information we can provide. We don't want to provide more information over this, because
mm,
at that point, company like Apple, considering how they've worked before, right, becomes a bit more exploitative. And they're
mm.
like, hey, we want, they'll probably throw like a very ridiculous amount. And they're like, we want 30% of your car sales.
Yeah, yeah,
And
that'd be pretty
and
crazy.
because yeah, and because they don't have that competition, right? Considering how much their phones are sold,
Mm,
you can't really do much because the cars need to have Apple CarPlay.
yeah, yeah. I don't. Yeah, I think they should either do what you just said, or they need to just get serious about making their own good infotainment. Um, but I actually don't think Tesla's that far ahead in terms of infotainment. Like compared
Yep.
to um other cars, like I feel like if that's the only plus side, then I think they're in trouble
They are in trouble.
because yeah, I
They're
can't
two good
see
cars right now.
mm, I
Too
can't
many
see them
good
keeping
cars.
up with the because they're taking features away, like their ultrasonic sensor's gone. Um LiDAR's gone, I believe. I don't know if they're bringing that back. Um they're relying only on cameras. And if you've seen the most recent um kind of display of like the 360 view, it's pretty bad. Like for parking, it's not accurate enough. And that's something that most other manufacturers, the ones that do provide that feature, it's very accurate. Um, and that's just
Yep.
using, cameras and ultrasonic sensors, which I'm surprised that they, I don't know if they thought that's too expensive or they don't need it, but they, yeah, I think they need it. Um,
It's a bit of a backward mentality in Tesla as well. So I think few key issues that I see right now. So basically, I've been sort of looking into cars recently, and I think within next year, I want to sort of purchase a car, right?
mm,
I'm still sort of deciding if I want to go with the EV, if EV is at a point where I want to purchase EV, or if I still
mhm,
go with a petrol car.
mm,
Um, when I look at EV, I don't even consider Tesla at this point.
mm,
And there are a few reasons why I wouldn't consider Tesla. One of the main issues that they have is the build quality and
mhm,
their maintenance.
mm,
Um, if anyone who's owned a car, right, has ever seen how annoying it is to maintain a car, if you purchase from Tesla at the moment, it's way worse.
mm,
If you go get into an accident, accidents happen, right? You
mm,
get into accident or there's a bit of a scratch, you'd probably have to wait for like what 6 7 months to get it all fixed.
mm,
Uh, you might be without a car. They don't provide proper alternatives for that. Um,
yeah,
on top of that, uh, what was the other point? Yeah, the build quality horrendous for a car that you want to spend over 100K, right? There is no way I would spend that much money for that build quality where everything's
mm,
creaking, nothing's nothing's put in together properly.
yeah,
So I think those are the few things that I think Tesla relies too much on the technology, but they
mm,
forget the part that why your day-to-day customers buy a car.
Yeah.
Tesla has had the hype, which is great, but at the same time, competition has caught up.
Yeah.
They thought that they would have autonomous driving as their key
Mm,
feature ready by now, probably be uh, getting it to consumers, but they're
mm,
quite far behind at the moment by the looks of it.
mm,
They they have overpromised for a lot of cars like Cybertruck or the Tesla Roadster, right?
mm.
People have had what it's been what 3-4 years now since people have had
Yeah.
the
Might be
deposit
even more.
on.
Yeah. Especially
Yeah.
for Roadster. Like that's like
Oh,
one of the first cars they announced, like ever. And
yeah.
there was an original
Pe-
version, but like the most recent one, I don't even know, sometime in the mid 2010s.
yeah. And the people have basically provided the deposit for these cars, right? So long back ago, no update from them. It's like things like these, right, sort of add up. And
Mm,
especially in the car industry, uh, like, yeah, tech can take you so much, but at the same time, you need to be able to appeal to your day-to-day audience, which is something that
yeah.
I feel like Honda has done with their both
Mm,
their models, Ioniq 5 and Ioniq 6.
yeah.
Amazing cars, both of them.
Mm,
The amount of tech that's there, uh, infotainment is snappy, build quality is amazing. It's cheaper than Tesla's at the moment. Why would
yeah.
someone not purchase an Ioniq over Tesla?
Mm. I think, yeah, slowly all the other manufacturers have been eating up the pros of Tesla. And I think the only one that's left for me that I'd actually care about is um they've got the inbuilt dash cam slash sentry mode thing. And I think as soon as other manufacturers start doing that, I have no reason to consider a Tesla at all.
Yeah,
Um,
I think
I
one of the
think,
other
yeah,
things is sorry, continue.
oh, yeah. I was just gonna say that I think that they know that they are in trouble, and I think that's why they are trying to branch out with stuff like the robot, the I don't know if you heard of the Optimus thing. It's pretty, it's not, I mean it's very far along, but it's not, I don't think it's anywhere close to making their money yet. Um, but I think they do know that they need to think about other ways of making money. Yeah.
Agreed, agreed. I think the other thing also Tesla has been doing uh, that is sort of shooting them in the foot, right? Is uh, changing the conventional stuff for a car
Mm,
that is still quite essential. So, for example, you have your aircon, right? When
mm,
you're driving, you want to be able to change temperature with a physical button, right?
mm.
They've thrown it all into that infotainment center
Yeah.
for that whole minimalism thing, right? Which works to a certain level, right? They've just thrown all the practical stuff into that infotainment center. The drive,
Mm,
the drive, park, all of those modes, drive modes. You
mm.
have to go into infotainment center to select that in the
Yeah.
current, like the new models. And I feel like those things are not going to help them at all
Mm.
because again, it's not practical for somebody to utilize that. It's not
Yeah.
practical if the infotainment system goes down, which it does. I feel like so
Mm.
many videos that it just goes down, right? And people don't know what to do because they can't put the car onto park.
Mm. Yeah.
It not only causes safety hazard, but also it's just impractical. Like when
Yeah.
you're driving, you want to be able to change temperatures, but not look and touch on the infotainment center.
Mm.
Things
Yeah.
like that,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. It's taking away some of the more useful things for, this in the like their, I guess their quest is for like autonomous, and like you're not really gonna be having your hands on the wheel all the time kind of thing. But because they're not yet there, it just seems impractical. Whereas like I still need to
Exactly.
drive, but I can't fiddle with the touchscreen. At least give me some sort of physical buttons that I can feel and then know, okay, I'm holding the, aircon button or something like that. But now you gotta either just get to the place where you know where the touch points are, or you have to look down, which it gets dangerous. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Mm.
I have a question though. Like
Mm.
at the state that where EV is, would you purchase an EV right now?
Um, I think right now is a bit early. I think we're close. I think we're really close. I think we're seeing more and more on the streets, and that's a good thing. It means, yeah, more and more people can afford it, and I don't think we're far off from getting those really affordable electrical cars. But I think a couple years down the line, if you'd ask me now, I mean, the options are still, in Australia, like plus 50K at least. You're not going to find
Yep.
anything decent. And that'll be like the lowest version of some kind of EV. Um,
Yep.
which is still good. But I don't think you would make back the money in savings, like fuel savings, that kind of stuff, that you as quickly as you would if you wait a few years. Yeah.
But that's my
So,
question. Another
mm,
question
mm,
following up to that. Do you think that uh, petrol cars, so instead of EV going down, do you think
mm,
petrol cars prices will increase? Like a good example, a recent very good example
mhm,
is our Honda Civic, right?
yeah.
That was never a super expensive car to
Mm,
go with, right? But now it's starting at a 50K plus at the moment
oh.
with inflation, with things like that.
Mm, yeah.
Do you think we're getting to a point where rather than EVs getting cheaper, would become cars getting more expensive?
Yeah. It's hard to say. I can't see why that would be the trend because it, like they're not rare. There's so many cars out there that
Yeah.
like if you just keep putting the price up, everyone's gonna go to the secondhand market. And maybe it's because the secondhand market is pretty crazy right now that they think they can afford to do that. But
Yeah.
I think these things kind of it's a bit of like their cycles to this. So eventually, it's gonna calm down and it's just not gonna be no one's gonna want to buy a new car and then they'll have to rethink that. So I think if that's what they're doing, I'd say it's short-sighted. Um,
Yeah.
but I don't think other than just regular inflation, um, and bad business decisions, I don't think that there'll be that big of a trend increase in petrol cars. Um, but yeah, hopefully electric cars prices going down. Who do you think will be leading the way in terms of just cars you see on the road? I still see more Teslas than any other electric car, but let's say in
Without
a
a
year or
doubt.
2 years, who do
The
you
thing
see
with
more?
Tesla is right now they have a very outdated design as well. It's quite an old
Mm,
design by now.
mm,
I think purely design wise, looking at the features, looking at uh, as a set, what a
yeah.
lot of cars have been selling at.
Mm-hmm.
Polestar used to be my number one,
Mm,
and definitely used to be my number one before Hyundai came out with their Ioniq 5
mm,
and 6. I think
yeah.
just looking at that car, design wise, looks amazing. Looks
Yeah.
so futuristic and looks so nice. But on top of that as well, they have a really good range. They're
Mm,
not so like they're not over 100K, right? They're
mm,
not going towards like that 100K point.
yeah.
Uh, they have announced that I think the what's the there's a SUV that they already have. They've already announced the next generation of that. with their EV
Mm.
version as well.
Oh,
So
okay. Yeah.
they seem to be, I think it's called Kino, if I'm
There's the
correct.
Kona, yeah, which is
Sorry,
like
Kona,
a it's
Kino.
like a
Yeah,
cross. It's like a mini SUV kind of thing. So
yeah.
they
So
already have
that
an
one,
electric one of that.
yeah.
Um,
But that
but yeah, there's a new
the
one coming
next
up.
generation that they've
Mm,
announced, it's I think the way they've built that car is
mm,
keeping EV in mind first. So that
mm,
makes sense. So I think the current model that they have is that was definitely petrol first, and then they
yeah,
converted that into EV.
yeah,
But the
yeah.
next generation that they've recently announced definitely seems like EV first. And
Mm,
I think the companies that are going to take the edge would be Japanese and Korean manufacturers,
yeah.
like your Toyota, like your
Mm,
Lexus, like Honda, Hyundai,
mm,
Kia, these brands,
yeah.
because they're a lot more thinking that ways in terms of technology,
Mm,
these brands.
yeah.
Whereas German car will sort of come, will be there. Like I've seen if you look at the new I series in BMW, the new
Mm,
Audis, uh, new Porsche, things like that, right?
yeah.
Anyways, I think like those ones are a bit that's for a bit more high end market at the
Yeah.
moment. Like they've always been high end market, so those will take a lot longer to get to that
Mm,
point.
yeah. Yeah.
So
Definitely.
yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna move us along. We've gone through the EVs. Very cool stuff. Very interesting stuff going on. Let's go on to. We're gonna stay on our friend Elon, but we're gonna talk about one of his other ventures. So we've also spoken about this, and
Yeah.
I was actually very optimistic. I don't know if you remember the last time we spoke about this,
Yeah.
but I was quite optimistic about what Elon would do. I think, okay, I'll give you my predictions that I made, and I think one of them came true, one of them did not come true. So
Yeah.
the one that did not come true was I thought that, this guy, he has several successful companies, and,
Yeah.
he's going to be able to, yeah, manage his way into making this company successful as well. My other prediction was that before this, Elon, he got very popular on Twitter because he was very good at speaking out against things that were not working with Twitter. Like things that he was very outspoken, I guess, on the app. And everyone liked him because he's this rich guy, but he's also like all about the memes. He seems like he's one of us on Twitter, right? Um, and my prediction was that him becoming the boss changes that dynamic completely because it's now he's who's he gonna complain about if he's the one that's in charge. And so I think nobody really likes him on Twitter. Okay, people like him. He has many followers, but he gets roasted so much now for everything he does. Any move he makes, it seems it's like the opposite of the Midas touch. It's just everything turns to crap pretty much that he touches when it comes to Twitter. Um, I don't know if it's gonna change at some point where eventually things start picking up. So I think, yeah, I was pretty sure that he was not going to be as popular as a person after that. I was very, very wrong about how he'd managed the company. And the yeah, where the direction you take it and how well they would do. But I'm keen to hear what is your favorite thing that he's done and what is your least favorite thing that he's done to the app.
Least favorite thing, that will
No,
be a
no, no.
while.
Let's start with favorite. Let's start with favorite to see if there's anything you like.
Favorite thing, I
Mm.
guess just adding that edit button to Twitter.
Okay.
Uh,
Okay.
least
What's the plus?
everything, ruining the whole application. I can't use Twitter anymore. Just saying, I like
Yeah.
Twitter was one application, right? Even though yes, it was toxic,
Mm,
it was something that was like I used to love using, on a
yeah.
day-to-day basis. Um, for me, that news section itself was
Mm,
amazing to use. My feed always used to provide me what I would want to see,
mm,
not stupid shit like memes and stuff, or even memes, but memes at
mm,
a very decent amount of level.
yeah.
Uh, yeah, like just basics of Twitter, right, has
Mm,
completely been destroyed.
mm,
A good example, like I follow F1, I follow boxing. These are the two
yeah.
sports that I highly follow.
Yeah.
And while I'm watching these sports, right, I used to love being on Twitter for
Mm,
these sports. Always, Twitter used to have this section where it used to showcase whatever sports going on at that
mm,
point, and I would just click on it and I'd see live commentary, like what people are saying, right?
mm,
I used to
yeah.
love that because that used to like keep me very active on Twitter.
Yeah.
I cannot do that for the love of God anymore, and I
Mm,
hate it. And there's no substitute to that anymore
mm, yeah.
as well. So now, if I go for boxing, if I'm watching a boxing match and I click on Twitter, look like now we basically have to search up that term,
Yeah.
right? So like, I'll
Mm,
search up, it'd be trending, and I'll click on that search.
yeah.
But basically, what would show up is just a bunch of illegal links. That's all. That's all I see.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
literally all I see at this point.
Mm,
So that whole news section is completely broken. The commentary section completely broken. Uh, in terms of the people I used to follow,
mm-hmm.
now they have like the follow and for you.
Yeah.
For you is horrendous. I don't know what's
Mm,
there. Now, basically, I used to see both side of conversation, but
yeah.
since the verification thing that they've added, right?
Mm,
Now I only see the comments at the top that people have paid for that verification.
yeah. Yeah.
And most of the time, it's not like both sides arguing. It's just one
Mm,
side because I think a lot of right wing people sort of believe in that application. They believe in paying for that
mm,
$12 subscription or whatever the amount is right now.
yeah.
And all I see is just bunch of abuse, uh bunch of stupid shit, or bunch of memes. There's no
Yeah.
conversation anymore. We kill that
Mm,
conversational part of Twitter.
yeah. Yeah.
And those were the core things I
Yeah.
used Twitter for. So I'm just like, I don't use Twitter anymore. I barely look at Twitter.
Yeah, you hate to see it. I tried to you know how on Apple you can look at your screen time. And I
Yeah.
really, because my usage has decreased quite a lot. Unfortunately, the history doesn't go back more than I think 3 or 4, maybe 5 weeks. I really wanted to compare like how much I was using the app now compared to before because a lot of the features are still there, but they're in a way that is just not as good as it was before. So when stuff is trending, I didn't even have to go to the search. I would just go on home screen on Twitter and mostly what is relevant to what's happening right now would show up in some way. Someone retweeted, someone liked it. Um, so that tells me that just less people are interacting with that because it's the tweets are not getting to me. Whether it's on the for you or the following, for you page is I don't even know if it's for me. It's not for me. My for you page is not for me. It's all I see a lot of fights for some reason. And I see a lot of what is the other thing? There's two things that I see quite a lot. It's mainly fights and like pranks. And I'm like, I don't know how to stop this. I've tried doing that thing where you're like, I don't want to see this content anymore. Um, but I still see that kind of stuff. Um, And
Can you
it's
believe
just,
like I've blocked someone and it still shows me on my For You?
oh, wow. Okay. Well, that's even worse. Yeah. I don't well, he's fired, I think, 80% of the company. So I guess that's what we'd expect, but I would have thought at least there would be some. It doesn't seem like there is a plan. Everything seems to be very like just reactive. And it's literally just an app for Elon to post memes. Like that's pretty much all it is.
Yeah,
Um,
that's literally it. Like
so
thing with
yeah.
Elon.
Mm,
I don't know if you heard the story, but
mm,
one of the you remember how they introduced that impressions thing to
yeah.
Twitter?
Mm,
How you can see the number of impressions.
yeah.
Basically, Elon tweets the impressions kept going down and down,
Mm,
and they literally got the Elon actually called in a lot of people who like, hey, what's going on? Why are my impressions down?
yeah.
And one of the employees actually said, hey, it's because you actually don't reach to that many people anymore. Like
Mm,
people aren't interested in you.
yeah.
And he fired him, fired him straight away.
I did hear that
I'm like,
story. Yeah.
and I'm like, what? But
Yeah.
like the things he's fired people for is ridiculous. And I feel like now it's gotten to a point, and maybe it's more of a conspiracy or whatever, right?
Hmm.
But but seeing how Elon reacts to things, I wouldn't
Yeah.
be surprised if he has purposefully asked his developers to sort of showcase his stuff to everyone on Twitter at this
Yes,
point.
it's in the code. I don't know if you've seen
Yep.
that they opened, well, they released some of the code base, the Twitter code base. And
Yep.
it was like there's some piece of code where it's checking the different types of users and it's like verified. It's got stuff for like politicians like Democrat, Republican, and then there's one that's like, is Elon? It checks if it's Elon, and depending on like those different flags, like all those things boost the tweets, which is pretty
Yep.
insane. I can't believe they actually released that, but yeah, they did. So he's definitely tipping the scales in his favor, but I just don't know how much longer people are going to want to use that app. My usage has decreased. I'm seeing less of the people that I follow, um,
Yep.
on the app. And that's either just because for some reason the tweet's not getting to me or they're just using it less.
That's it. That's pretty much it. Like
I, yeah,
I
there are a
think
few.
like
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
sorry, what were you saying?
I was gonna slightly change the topic, so I'll let you say what you're about to say.
Yeah, like I feel like with Twitter, the whole thing that Elon bought this app for was to make it this app for freedom of speech, right?
Mm,
But it didn't work out. He didn't do any of the freedom of speech things that he was saying. He tightened it. He put freedom of speech behind a paywall, and he's made himself like the king of this application.
mm,
That's pretty
yeah,
much what he's done.
yeah.
Uh, no advertiser wants to use that platform. For developers, they've made it even worse. So with I don't know if you've heard about the API side of things,
Mm,
how how ridiculous the prices are
yeah.
to utilize Twitter API.
Mm,
But yeah, it's just made it worse day by day. For
yeah.
organizations, they don't want to do anything to do with Twitter anymore.
Yeah. He's I think in his quest to like maintain control and B make money, he's pushed away a lot of the reasons that people use the platform. So that even just the API, so many companies are just not going to work with them anymore because of the ridiculous pricing. Advertisers don't want to work with Twitter because of the content that's showing up more of now, like I guess the non-advertiser friendly content that's like just on your front page pretty much. Um So
I
yeah,
see randomly porn pop up on top of on my For You. I'm like, what
yeah,
the
it'll show
hell
up
is
on your
going
For
on?
You, and
I'm like,
it's like, yeah,
what? I I I thought that that was against Apple's policy as well to have these applications on like that, you know? So,
yeah, I don't even know, yeah, what they can do. I mean, he did have a meeting with Tim Cook at some
Tim
point.
Cook.
But I don't know what was discussed there. I think I feel like that was just marketing. I don't know if he was threatening to remove himself from the App Store, but I don't think that was actually going to happen. Um, yeah, I don't. I am hoping that there's a good alternative soon. I want to try out. So there is one called Blue Sky. I don't know if you heard of it. Um,
Oh.
I believe I'm not sure, but I believe that Jack Dorsey has a hand in that one. Um, right now it's waitlist only. They've got quite a few big people on it.
Mhm.
Um, but I think they're still setting up, so the pool is still very small.
Oh
Um,
wow. It looks
yeah,
like Twitter as well,
it looks exactly like Twitter,
like
which
the
I
old
don't
Twitter.
mind. I don't mind at
Yeah.
all. Please, I just want the old days back. Um,
But
so
that's my
yeah.
question as well. Does an app like Twitter has a place anymore in the world with something like TikTok at this point, considering how quickly TikTok has taken revenue from all social platforms straight away, and no
Mm,
one can do anything about it. Even in terms of giving out opinions, right? I know
hmm.
we used to like to type, right? But
Yeah.
by the looks of it, uh, current generation is more vocal, and they just
Hmm.
want to pop out their phone and be like, "Hey, this is my opinion on this thing,"
Hmm.
and people are interacting in the comment section as well.
Yeah.
And I know I'm one of those peoples who looks at TikTok a lot more in that sense nowadays.
Mm. Um, I I see the overlap, but I think they're still two pretty different things. I think do you use TikTok for news? Like if something's
Uh,
happening right now, for example, we had an earthquake a
yeah,
couple days ago. I would not think to my first thought would be go to Twitter because
that's
it's
true.
super easy. Write it down. What's happening is was there an earthquake? Is Instagram down? Is YouTube down? It's super fast and to find out. TikTok, I mean, there's pretty low barrier in terms of like production quality. You can just press record and send, but it's not as instant as an app like Twitter, um, which is why I think there's still a place for it. Um,
Yeah, I guess,
yeah.
yeah. I think
Mm,
that news section itself was so useful on Twitter,
mm,
and now it's
mm,
gone, right? I
yeah.
remember how people were debating why do we have this news section, right?
Yeah.
But now that it's gone, I really, really miss it. Like that, like
Yeah.
just being
Yeah.
able to just focus on that particular event or
Yeah.
what people are talking about or
Mm,
just the current stuff, right? That
yeah.
used to be so useful. And now
Mm.
all I see is just crypto boys trying to scam you on
Yeah,
on
with the
Twitter
check
on
marks.
trending section. Yeah,
Yeah.
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 I'm like, just can't
Mm,
deal with it anymore.
yeah. Anyway, everyone check out Blue
So you're
Sky.
disappointed.
I am
Yeah.
disappointed. I I think the reason that Twitter is not doing well under Elon is because, well, yeah, everyone knows this. Someone can be good at one thing, it can be absolute genius at something, and be the dumbest person at another thing. And I think Elon understands to some degree getting companies that are very objective to work. So like engineering, we need this car to move faster. Let's get that done. SpaceX, we're trying to get to space. There's like formulas for this. I don't think he
That's what I'm
understands
gonna.
people well enough to have the same amount of control that he has over his other companies, because he can control the people inside the company, but he can't control the user base. And he's just completely lost, uh, you know, everyone that actually uses the app.
But that's what I'm gonna say, right? I don't think Elon is a genius. Yeah, he might be genius in the sense of, yeah, he can acquire companies as long as
Mm,
possible, right?
mm,
But he's not a genius where things matter. Like, for example, the whole Twitter debacle, we've already seen that.
mm,
His ego comes in the way.
yeah.
Tesla right now is the same exact thing. Things like he's so stuck in that mentality where it's like, no, no, we're not going to use this LiDAR technology. Rather, we'll keep
Mm-hmm.
using this what do you call these cameras, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
because he wants to make sure that, so if we can see something from our eyes, right,
Yeah.
uh, the camera should be able to, the AI and the
Mm,
camera should be able to recognize that. But it's like
yeah.
he doesn't realize like these technologies like LiDAR, right, are here
Mm,
to push that envelope, right? It has to
mm,
do something better than what humans can do. And that's
yeah.
what we want. We don't want to be stuck with what humans can do, right? But maybe things
Mm,
that are more advanced.
yeah. Yeah.
SpaceX is one good initiative that he's been doing, but
Yeah.
the question is SpaceX going to make money for him?
I think SpaceX is already making money for him, because he's getting deals with like anyone that needs to take stuff to space already is using
Yeah.
their ships to transport. So he's like in the freight business, but for space.
But my question
So
is,
yeah.
how long until a competitor comes in? That's what I'm saying, right? Like as soon as the
Yeah.
competition factor
Mm,
comes in, right? He, I don't know what happens to him. He loses his
mm,
mind or something,
mm,
and he just goes into this panic mode, right? Into
mm,
ways to ruin a company.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and that's what I'm saying. Like because SpaceX has no competition right now,
Hmm.
he's good. But once SpaceX has a competition, what will happen
Yeah.
then?
Yeah,
He's not doing
that's a
that
really good
well with
point.
Tesla.
Mm,
He's not doing it with Tesla. He's not doing it well with Tesla. He with Twitter, we've already seen the debacle, complete disaster, and I can't believe what he's done with Twitter. It's
yeah.
it's it's one way to kill a company. He's
Mm.
deciding to change the name of Twitter to X.
Oh, is that happening yet?
Yeah, yeah, they've already filed in what do you call it,
Uh,
trademark and things like that.
yeah. Yeah.
And basically, I don't know if you've heard the news. They've hired a new CEO
Yep.
for Twitter,
Hmm.
and basically that person, she will be taking uh, Twitter to that X platform, you know.
Yeah.
But it's
Yeah.
like, why buy? Why not just start a new company if you really wanted to buy? Like, if you wanted to make that X platform, why buy such a big, like Twitter as an IP is pretty big, right?
Mm.
It has big name. Why buy such a big company when you had to completely change the whole thing out?
Yeah. Um, it's a good
Very
question.
questionable
I'd love to ask
decisions.
him, but yeah, I think what you said earlier, answers it. Is like whenever his ego gets in the way, he just makes poor decisions. I don't think he actually wanted to buy Twitter. I think he basically got tricked into it by, I think it was the old CEO of Twitter. Um, and he almost did it as a joke, and then he realized he could not back out, and then he was forced to overpay. Um, and now he's trying to make it profitable when it just was not. I guess I don't even know how Twitter's making money before, but it's certainly not making money now. And he's trying it with the Twitter Blue. Um, he's trying it with the API prices, and yeah, we'll see if it works. It might just be the most expensive L anyone's ever taken. But yeah, I just want an alternative, please, someone.
Definitely. I mean, I'll
Okay.
check out this Blue Sky. That sounds pretty
Mm.
nice.
If they let you in on the wait list before me, I'm gonna be very upset because
It just asked me
this
to
has
create an
happened to
account
me.
now.
Sorry? Yeah, it's gonna
It
ask
just
you to
asked me
create an
to.
account, but then it's gonna say you can only create the account if you've got an invite code. So you need to find someone who already has the app and then get them to give you an invite code.
I see this invite
Otherwise
code.
you're
Yep.
just on the wait list. I'm gonna use this as an opportunity to segue into our next topic. I signed up for Bing Chat, whatever it's called, the Bing AI thing, the wait list on the day that they announced it. I'm
Yep.
still waiting. Everyone else signed up and some got it instantly, most got it instantly. Now the wait list is gone. The wait list is gone. Anyone can use it except for me. And I just want to ask Microsoft, why? Why are you doing this
So
to me?
how
I don't understand.
question is, how did you
Yeah,
piss off Microsoft this time around?
I don't know. I think it's because I like only buy Apple products. Like all my past, like I haven't bought a Windows computer in like since 2012, I think, or maybe 2010.
Okay.
So that might be it. Um, in which case, fair enough. But I use it for work, so hit me up.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's a good
What
segue to
I
talk
would
about
say
AI.
is, don't worry about that Bing. Use
Mm,
ChatGPT. Much better.
ChatGPT.
A hundred
Okay.
times better uh, than what Bing's AI is.
Mm.
But
Is
yeah,
it not the
let's
same
maybe
backend though?
let's.
Is it not both
Bing is very
using?
like a soft version of ChatGPT. It doesn't have
Okay.
all the functionalities.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not that good as the
Mm,
ChatGPT. At least
yeah.
what I've been using.
Yeah. I guess it's
Um,
more public facing, so they probably want to be a bit more safe with it.
yeah, maybe
Yeah.
before we jump into this topic, maybe let's give a
Mm,
bit of a recap of what's
mm.
happened in the AI space in the past few months, I guess.
Yeah, give it to me.
Um, okay, so I think this all started with ChatGPT being released.
Mm-hmm.
Once ChatGPT came out, became very trending on TikTok or on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
uh, became too trending on TikTok.
Mm,
Everybody was using this for the essays, for any question they had. Uh, created lot of buzz. I think the valuation went over the roof over
mm.
like within 7 days time. Again,
Fastest app
ChatGPT has
to
been,
1 million users ever.
yeah,
Mm.
yeah, 100%. They're owned by OpenAI, so
Yep.
well, supposed to be a non-profit, but I don't know what the case is right now. Uh, Once
Mm.
that happened, uh, Google started to become a bit more concerned about how people are utilizing ChatGPT and
Mm-hmm.
how it will affect Google. Just because I think Google search was already on the way down,
Okay.
thanks to TikTok somehow.
Oh, okay.
Uh, yeah, because TikTok became the uh, I think the most visited browser, uh, uh, sorry,
Website.
website in the world.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
it's become the top website, and people
Mm.
are searching more on TikTok these days apparently than
Yeah.
on Google.
Wow.
So it was already there was like lot of lot of buzz around it. Google was like already
Mm.
kind of concerned, but then when ChatGPT came out, people started asking any question to ChatGPT. It would answer them rather than taking you through links
Yeah.
and you basically searching for it. So it would give
Mm.
you more accurate answer.
Yeah.
Um, and it's being a language model, it's working quite well.
Yeah.
Once that happened, Google went to this whole lockdown mode. I think they went like what code red or something in the company.
Mm.
They stopped development on everything else and started focusing on their own language model
Yeah.
and AI solutions on their end.
Mm.
while this happened, Microsoft announced their partnership with ChatGPT
Yep.
because I think they own a certain amount of stake in OpenAI at the moment.
Yep. I think they were an early investor, and now they've put in, I think it was like $10 billion for 50%
Yeah,
of the company.
yeah,
Um,
they got it for
and
cheap, mostly.
yeah. And I think, yeah, so it's almost a part of Microsoft now. Still,
Yeah,
I think they still act independently, but they're basically partners. Yeah.
yeah, 100%. And because of that, now basically they've used that same GPT model that is sort of that powers ChatGPT.
Mm-hmm.
So ChatGPT being the language model, right? Uh, Sort of is more front facing. People can sort of interact with it, but they've used that GPT model and all the learnings that GPT model has had, and they are sort of utilizing that with their own set of applications and their
Yep.
own set of products. They want to sort of introduce it to that. Good example being the Copilot that's being
Mm-hmm.
announced. Uh, that sort of works with pretty much your Excel, your all your Microsoft suite. I think GitHub as well, if I'm
Yep.
correct.
This is GitHub
Uh,
Copilot as well.
the GitHub Copilot, they're gonna be Copilot on your operating system, so your Windows as
Mm,
well. Um, and that was happening while this whole thing with Microsoft has been happening.
mm.
Google has gone ahead and announced their own language model. So I think it's called Google Bard,
Bard.
if
Yep.
I'm correct.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So they've announced their side of things, and yeah, here we are right now.
Mm.
Did I miss anything? Or
Um, no, I think that's pretty good. A pre, I guess AI has been a pretty big buzzword in the last year or so. Uh, OpenAI has been they've been busy. They've been doing a lot of cool things. They've been kind of leading the way, at least in terms of making things popular. Um, so even before um ChatGPT came out, they came out with DALL-E 2, and that's another generative um AI, but for images. So that's yeah, type in a phrase, it's gonna create the image for you. That causes own controversy. There's lots of stuff going on about, um, with what the sources of the training was and that kind of stuff. But it seemed like OpenAI does something, it's super cool and it's super effective. Um, and then a lot of companies, so now Photoshop has their own um, generative AI stuff. Same with like Illustrator and a whole but so many AI companies popping up right now. It's pretty insane. Um, just to give a little more context on how, like, let's say specifically the language model works. It's Think of it like a on your phone when you're typing and it suggests the next word. It's like auto complete for like sentences. So how it works is it's trained on basically a lot of text on the internet, and it's learning about patterns of words. So um it's just learning like this word comes after this word and then making sentences through that. And it predicts, like, if you give it half a sentence, it'll predict what the rest of the sentence would be. The same way, if you give it a question, it kind of judges from all the patterns it's learned what kind of response would be appropriate to put after this question. So it has no idea what it's doing. Basically, just to make it clear, like, it's not it's very smart, but it's also it's I just want to make it clear that it's not alive. Even though like it seems like it's giving very human-like responses, it's not actually, there's no soul behind it, there's no actual feelings behind it. um there has been a lot of debates about um AI becoming sentient. and that kind of stuff. Uh, Look, I'm not saying it won't happen, but I don't think a language model is how we're going to get there. Um, but I don't think that stops um, any of the risks of AI from still being apparent with these language models. Like we've seen them hallucinate, they lie, they don't know what they're doing. They're just saying things because they've been trained to say stuff. So yeah, I haven't used Bing, unfortunately, still, but I've heard that like in some conversations they can get kind of crazy and start saying the wildest things. Um, and I think that's something that is important to keep in mind, I guess, because the more power we give these things, uh, there's a risk that even though it doesn't know what it's doing, is following some kind of script and thinking, okay, it's read books, of like Terminator and that kind of stuff. So it is, if you get it on a certain track and tell it, hey, you are
Yep.
my therapist, it's gonna be your therapist. If you tell it you're here to take over the world, it's gonna follow your lead and then do what it needs to do, even though it doesn't really know what it's doing. So
Yep.
it's it's not super smart, but it can cause an incredible impact, positive or negative. And yeah, we might need to watch out for
Yep.
that one. Mm.
The thing is, you need to realize like it is still learning, right? Even
Mm.
though yes, it's not a sentient in any form, it's still learning based of what we are sort of presenting.
Yeah.
That's pretty much how we've sort of jumped from GPT-3 to GPT-4, right? It's
Mm.
just the amount of data it's consumed. And the more it consumes, the better it gets. That sort
Yeah.
of a thing.
Mm.
They're still definitely learning, but definitely won't be like a sentient or a Terminator, that sort of a thing.
Yeah. Yeah. How so AI is the craze right now. There was
Yeah.
a craze a year and a half, 2 years ago, which was crypto. How do you how do you think they stack up against each other in terms of I feel like
So
they will both cause a similar amount of noise. Um,
this is the thing, right? Like, say, so the three things that I was sort of looking towards the future, which could be like the biggest impacts.
mm,
And I think so. One being crypto,
mm-hmm,
one being AR, VR, and
mm-hmm,
the third thing being AI, right?
yeah,
But with the AI, considering how Google was so hush hush on their end, like they were definitely
mm,
working on their own AI models. They've been working on it for years and years on end, right?
mm,
But they never sort of released it just because it would hurt them as a business.
yeah,
Uh, that never came out, never saw the light.
mm,
Thing with crypto, I think the issue with crypto is it's not very mainstream. It's not like we're using CBDCs, right? Crypto
mm,
will have its place, but it's not going to be the way we have crypto as is right now.
mm-hmm,
It needs to be it needs to be more of a regulated side of things. So it needs to be
yeah,
more CBDC-ish, and only that side of crypto I see working.
mm,
With AR, VR, I don't know what's going on
yeah,
at the moment.
mm,
I guess question marks for the Apple event, but
yeah,
at the same time, all we've seen is till date is metaverse stuff, all these
yeah,
things. And I see it more of a gimmicky thing,
mm-hmm,
more of like entertainment, maybe a bit of entertainment, bit of things, but I think not very practical considering how where we are with technology, where we are with hardware
yeah,
specifically.
mm-hmm,
So I don't know where that sort of sits at the moment.
mm-hmm,
I don't see VR. To be honest, VR is one of those technologies which I don't see catching up. AR
mm-hmm,
is one technology with on that side of things where I see this practical uses.
yeah,
And talking about practical uses, that's where I see sort of AI. AI
mm,
is such a like especially in the past 2 3 months, right?
yeah,
The way I've sort of incorporated AI into my day-to-day life.
yeah,
And it's so useful, so helpful as a tool, right? It is actually
mm,
helping me do my day-to-day work a lot more efficiently.
yeah,
And that's the same thing for so many people across corporate industry, so many people across education, so many people just on a day-to-day basis, just daily basis.
Mm. Yeah.
Uh, that's where I see AI being that next step in technology that
Yeah.
will probably be the biggest thing.
Mm. Yeah.
At
I
least
think,
that's my thoughts right now.
yeah. Yeah, the biggest difference I've seen is just how accessible it is. So like
Yeah,
crypto, people have uh, people struggle to even just explain it, you know, whereas with ChatGPT, it's there, it's in a form that anyone can just type in something and get a response specific to them. And it's real when your parents are texting you about it. Like as soon as someone
yeah,
that really knows, so not little, but like someone who's not in the tech focus space is sending you stuff about something, that's when like it's hit, you know, majority of people that it can hit. So I
yeah,
think that's the biggest difference, and that's probably um the biggest tell that something is not just a trend. It's more of like a something that's gonna stick around. Side note, I something that I regret, well, not regret, but like something that was so obvious to me, I guess, that I didn't take advantage of was knowing that GPUs were gonna become so integral to like, well, it's just something that was gonna be purchased so much in the next, 5 to 10 years. Just
yeah.
because of like my degree, I should have really known. I should have invested in Nvidia like 2 years ago, because like for something that started off in gaming and ended up,
Yeah.
being, the backbone of AR and gaming, of course. But yeah, I should have definitely invested in Nvidia because they're making so much money right now. Their stock went up by like 75% the other day. Um,
Oh my God, that's crazy.
so
That's crazy.
yeah, yeah, it's pretty insane.
Yeah,
Yeah, so yeah, there's so many companies popping up right now. It's kind of hard to know what's going to happen. I'm waiting for things to kind of calm down a bit. I don't know when that'll happen, if it will, but
yeah.
I'm looking more to the big players, Google, Microsoft,
Yeah.
maybe Apple. I don't know what they're going to do in terms of AI. Um,
So,
but
so this is
is
where,
the yeah. Is there
yeah,
anyone you trust at the helm of AI? Like, who do you trust to be the leader in this space?
this is the thing, right?
Mm,
Uh, with AI side of things, um, it sort of reminds me of the days when smartphone became a thing, right?
mm,
How quickly people were adopting to smartphone,
yeah.
and if not the same rate, it's a lot more uh,
Mm,
for AI just because how accessible it is.
yeah.
Uh, with ChatGPT, like how much is it? $22. Like if you want to pay the
Mm,
advanced version, 20,
yeah.
you have the free version already, and then you
Mm,
have the $22 version per month that you can utilize for
yeah.
fully go at it. With Google coming out with their bot, supposedly it's going to be free. I'm not 100%
Mm,
sure what's happening with that one just yet,
yeah.
but apparently the saying is going to be free, of course.
Mm,
So things like that. Uh, I think there's a lot of time to decide that one company that's going to be the biggest of all.
mm, yeah.
Um, but to be honest, I don't see. So I see Google being up there,
Yeah.
but I think the uh, top player that's going to be there is going to be Microsoft.
Mm,
The reason why I say Microsoft is they've invested in OpenAI. They were there from the very start, right?
yeah.
Uh, they've invested so much to integrate into their platforms. So
Mm,
it's not just not just their what do you call it? Office platforms, which is
yeah.
very widely used
Mm,
in work, in education, in every day-to-day life. You can't
mm,
go go on without using Microsoft Office products.
Yeah.
Not just that, but on the coding side of things, when you look at GitHub, right, they have that as a product, that as an
Yeah.
offering.
Yeah.
Then you have all your backend systems, all your networking systems, Azure, things like that, right? All your cloud-based systems that could sort of utilize AI.
Yeah.
And then the biggest asset that they have, which wasn't really that big of a, well, it is a big asset that they have, is Windows.
Yeah.
Windows will have AI integrated to it so deeply that I don't know how they cannot be bigger, the biggest players in the
Yeah.
game.
Yeah. They definitely
I
have.
see.
Yeah. They've got
I see
the.
Google.
Oh, sorry. You
Sorry.
carry on. Your monologue's still going well.
Yeah, I see Google trying to compete, and yes, they will compete. But the reason why I see them being second to them, right, is I think one of the few advantages that Google has is the amount of data they have.
Yeah.
They have all the data in the world to sort of utilize that. They have all your Gmail conversations. They have everything around that, right? But the issue is they are only they're so uh, they're only stuck on web, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. Like you have to
Um,
get to them where Microsoft can come
yeah,
to you.
exactly.
Yeah.
And that is the biggest seller for Microsoft. The reason why they will advantage the most because of this.
Yeah.
Because every field that you can look at, Microsoft will be there. I think the only one that I'm not sure just yet is the creative side of things,
Yeah.
which Google might have a bit more advantage. But I think even Adobe sort of jumping on that right
Yeah.
already is
Yeah.
making big waves.
Well, they at the Google I/O, they announced a partnership with Adobe. So
Yep.
it could be, them working together. I think they're gonna need to work with other people if they want to get in front of more people. I guess the only other big hardware company is Apple, and I don't know if they're gonna jump deep into AI just yet. I feel like this is one of those fields where they're gonna let it play out and then make their decision. But I mean, thinking of Google, they already have a deal with Apple where
Yep.
they're the default search engine for Safari, and for Siri. So if they want to get in front of more people and more hardware, they might need to strike some kind of a deal there. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see what Apple tries to do. I feel like Apple's trying to become as self reliant as possible, so they might not do that. Um
I think they'll be forced into it.
mm,
Uh, the reason why, like I know they are looking into their VR here, and again,
mm,
anything could come out, right?
yeah.
But I just don't see it being that successful compared to uh, what this AI stuff is going to be.
Mm,
And considering Microsoft will, and again, Google has Android, right? And
yeah.
Microsoft has their Windows platform.
Mm,
They will try to add or shoehorn AI as much as possible into these platforms,
yeah.
and that will be a big advantages for
Mm,
these companies. And that's where
yeah.
I don't see Apple striking a deal with
Mm,
Google because of the Android side of things.
yeah. 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 Yeah, they'll have to. Like if Android becomes significantly better just because of AI, they're gonna need to rethink if they want to stay
Yeah.
out of that.
And
Because
this
they've
might,
been happy to let Siri suck for a while.
yeah, it's been so
But
bad. Yeah.
yeah, they might, yeah. We'll see
But
what they do.
that's the other thing as well, right? Yeah, Siri and everything aside.
Mm,
The other thing with Google is they can also utilize AI with the Chromebooks that they sort of start selling,
mm, yeah.
considering how much AI is going to be in the cloud, how they can sort of create a platform
Yeah.
for as a cheap alternative
Mm.
and sort of get a big adoption around that side as well.
Yeah. 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 Look, they're pretty integral in most people's lives. Gmail, Google Docs, Google Drive. So they can find places to bring their AI into play. So yeah, it'll be very interesting to see. Um, to finish off, I want to get some predictions from you. We've got Apple event coming up in a couple days, 6, 7 days.
Yeah,
You
haven't
you
haven't
don't,
looked anything
yeah. Well, I
around
mean, while
this.
you're searching, I can give you a rundown of what might come. So
Okay,
15-inch MacBook Air, possibly.
okay,
Um, refresh of um what is the Watch OS? Yeah, refresh of Watch OS.
yep,
Yeah, new iOS updates as usual. Um,
yeah,
possibly Mac Pro, but don't hold your breath.
yeah,
And then the big one is the AR VR headset. That's not confirmed, but it seems like 99% chance it's gonna get at least presented in some way. Don't know if it'll come on sale anytime soon, but yeah.
yeah.
Give me your thoughts.
See, my thoughts around MacBook Air 15-inch
Mm,
should do it. I
yeah.
think MacBook Air as the current offering
Mm,
somehow I feel is a better offering than the MacBook Pro at the moment.
it is. I can't recommend a MacBook Pro to like 90% of people just because the MacBook Air exists.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just too good right now, the MacBook
Mm,
Air.
yeah.
In terms of iOS 17, again, it'll just be a basic
Mm,
update, nothing super crazy over there. I don't expect them to change
yeah.
anything big or announce anything big.
Mm,
In terms of the Watch OS,
yeah.
they should definitely change the UI. I don't like
Mm.
the current UI. Like
It's been the same
use it
for a
on
very
like
long time.
yeah. But one of the things with Watch OS is also how much do people actually utilize Watch? I
Mm,
think 90% of the people utilize the watch for their fitness tracking,
yeah.
to look at time,
Mm,
and just do very basic tasks. They don't quite
mm,
utilize any of the other applications. I know I
yeah.
don't, and
Yeah.
I've seen so many people that I don't see them utilizing it for
Yeah.
anything else.
I'm guessing
So
they
yeah,
I'm guessing they are aware of that. And maybe that's why they're trying to refresh to try and get more people using the other features. But yeah,
yeah,
fitness plus
but yeah,
time, that's pretty much it.
yeah, 100%, hundred
Mm,
percent. Like again, Apple Watch has never been its own thing, right? It's always
mm,
been an accessory to the iPhone,
yeah.
uh, which works well. Like I love my Apple Watch, but I don't see it more than like a fitness tracker or things like that, you know.
Mm,
Uh, but yeah, if they can sort of appeal people with that, nothing more than that.
yeah.
Uh, Now moving to the big stuff, that's the AR and VR items, right?
Mm,
I don't see it being ready uh, until next 2 years, whatever hardware they'll announce.
mm,
If it's VR, I'm not interested. I
yeah.
know hey, if it's going to be VR, not interested. I don't see
Mm,
a point of VR as a future. Yeah, maybe for
mm-hmm,
gaming and stuff, but that's literally it. I don't see anything beyond that for VR.
mm,
Augmented reality is something I do want to see. I do want to
mm,
explore into,
yeah.
just because I do see a lot of applications for augmented reality. A
Yeah.
very basic, you could a very basic example, and considering it's Apple, right? They always try to do things correctly.
Mm,
So I'm sort of hoping they do this kind of thing where, which was something that they showed with hologram as well, like Microsoft
mm,
hologram, right? I don't know what
yeah.
happened with that. Uh,
Yeah.
I
HoloLens.
haven't heard
Yeah.
HoloLens.
They
Sorry,
haven't
yeah,
updated
HoloLens.
it in a long time.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
they haven't sort of gone ahead with giving it to your basic consumers or day-to-day
Yeah.
consumers, right? There's
Yeah.
no good applications, nothing.
Mm.
but I sort of see AR at least replacing all screens in the world. Just saying straight up,
Mm.
should be replacing every screen. You should be basically be wearing AR all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I see it sort of, let's say a good example. I have a monitor here, right? I
Yeah.
wouldn't need this monitor, doesn't need to be here.
Yeah.
Laptop doesn't need to be here. All of
Mm.
that hardware can just go to like does not require to be there because I have
Yeah.
such a big supercomputer on my head.
Yeah.
I can just go ahead and type away in front of
Mm.
me.
Yeah.
Maybe for the physical form factor, maybe like a keyboard, but that's
Yeah.
it. Uh, we should be able to share certain screens, certain things with
Yeah.
everyone else who's wearing the AR goggle. So, a good
Mm.
example, let's say I want to pin like a TV up over here in the wall, right? I should be able to do that, and
Mm.
everybody who has an AR glass who enters my home can
Mm.
see that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Things like that. I see
Mm.
augmented reality having really good use cases.
Yeah.
The other thing is the 3D aspect of it. You can actually just get a certain item and see how it will actually look in real life.
Mm.
You can open up guides. So, for example, you're working on, let's say, an engineering item, right? You're
Mm.
doing something. While you're doing something, right, you can sort of bring a guide in front of you,
Yeah.
look at parts, sort of zoom in, see how exactly you have to do that.
Mm.
It would work really well for
Yeah.
education. So I think it's limitless,
Mm.
uh, but it just has to be done correctly. And I don't know if the hardware is anywhere close to that.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
if Apple has sort of done that,
Yeah.
absolute kudos to that.
Mm.
But I don't see that because I don't see the battery technology there
Yeah.
because you basically need a battery for all day long. You
Yeah.
need to be able to, uh, yeah, you need to be able to see
Mm.
this all day long, basically.
Yeah. Okay. I'll give you some more specifics if you haven't heard any of the leaks, and then maybe I'll give you my thoughts as well. So
Yeah.
it's looking like it's gonna be, yeah, AR plus VR, one device.
Yeah.
It's gonna have, you're talking about battery, it's gonna have external battery. So the headset, you
Okay.
put it on, then you're gonna have a cable. It's gonna have to go like into your pocket or something, some kind of big battery. I don't know what the battery life will be just yet, but apparently it's gonna be about the size of a phone, like the battery pack, the size of like Pro Max. Um,
Okay.
resolution to 4K for each eye, which is pretty
Okay.
pretty insane. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, I think it's gonna have at least 12 cameras inside and out. So face
Yeah.
tracking inside, eye retina scanning, all that kind of stuff, and then cameras outside for pass through for the actual AR experience. And to see like your hands. I guess there's no physical control, so everything's gonna be with your hands. Price tag possibly 2 to 3 thousand US.
That's the thing
So
I would pay. If it can do everything that I said before,
yeah,
I would pay for it because it
yeah,
replaces all my devices in one go.
yeah. Yes, so I think this, if as you said, if done right, this could be as significant as the first iPhone announcement. I
Yeah.
think another, okay, more context. There was some rumors earlier this year that the design team did not want to release it this year, saying that they're not ready and that Tim
Mm.
has kind of overruled them and said, no, I want it this year. They've been working on it since I think like 2015 or even earlier.
Yeah.
So I think Tim's like, okay, we need to release something. Um, potentially because they know Meta is still trying. Quest Pro, Quest Pro came out last year, same thing, but it just didn't work out. They're gonna have another. I think they're gonna have another version, Quest 3, which won't be as pro version of like pro as the other one, but still they are their competitor in this. I am hoping. and I do want this device so much. um, yeah,
That's the
I
thing,
think
right?
it has potential
Like
to be, yeah, really
it
good.
definitely has the potential to be one of the
Mm,
biggest things,
yeah,
without a doubt. Like I agree, but at the same time, right, they have to make sure that they do this right.
yeah.
Because if they do this wrong from the get-go,
Mm,
they will have a very hard time convincing people to jump
mm,
onto it later when they get it correct.
yeah.
It will definitely have its quirk for the very first product, right?
Mm,
But the quirks shouldn't be so much that it's unusable.
yeah.
Uh, the thing with Meta is right. I think everything they're doing is incorrect at the moment. They're not going
Mm,
down the correct path.
mm,
Um, they they are they went so deep into this whole AR VR thing, but then
mm,
as soon as they started investing into it, started working into it, right? And they
mm,
announced it way too quickly.
yeah.
As soon as they started working into it, recession hit, they
Mm,
fired most of their people.
yeah.
And they just concentrating on the applications that they currently have.
Mm, yeah.
And they weren't ready for it. And that's what like the whole metaverse is absolute joke at this point because of that stuff. And
Yeah,
that's what I don't want Apple to do.
mm, they announced it before they really had anything to show, you know? They announced their big
Exactly.
vision and it sounded great, but then when they actually started releasing stuff, it wasn't even like half of what they said it would be. So I don't know why. I feel like at the time Facebook was under a lot of scrutiny and I feel like they wanted to do a big rebrand and yeah, look, I don't know
Possibility.
if it's worked. Yeah. Um,
Yeah,
but yeah, Apple has a chance. I'm hoping that they do well. For my own sake, because I really want
of
it.
course.
And
Not 100%.
I think the price tag they did on purpose. I feel like they made it super expensive for this version because they don't want that many people having it while they're sorting out all the kinks. I
That's the
think,
thing. I
yeah.
think, funny enough, with that price, I don't think it's too much to ask,
Mm,
considering at least what's in my head or the version of AR that's in my head, right?
yeah.
If they can provide that, I don't
Mm,
think it's too much to ask.
yeah.
And I wouldn't even be surprised if at that price point, Apple might be losing money from that product.
I think it's about 1,500 to produce, not including marketing and
No,
that
no,
kind of
but
stuff.
I'm
But
I'm
yeah,
sort of including the
yeah.
R&D,
Mm.
and that's what
Oh
I'm
yeah,
saying. Like, I
definitely.
don't think
Definitely. They've been
they
working on it
won't
for
make.
so long.
Yeah, I think the money where they'll make money, the place where they will make money is the applications.
Mm.
And I'm guessing the reason why I say it's not going to be even released in the next 2 years is because they will release a developer version
Mm.
out. So they want applications to be, they want people to at least create applications for that particular device
Yeah.
once that's out in the open.
Oh. Oh, so you don't think you'll be able to buy it this year?
No, 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 not this year. It's not
Oh.
going to be next year. It's going to be the year after. So
Oh. I think we'll be
2025.
able to buy it this year. I think they're gonna announce and they're gonna say this is gonna go on sale later this year.
I don't think so. But
Oh, okay.
again,
Well,
we'll
let's
see.
see. I'm keen to find out. I'm sure we'll do another episode after the event.
Yeah,
But
definitely.
yeah, I am I'm trying to stifle my excitement, but I am quite keen. I've been waiting for something like this for a very long time. So hopefully,
Just 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 don't be so excited.
I
Otherwise the
know. I
whole
feel
Twitter
like I
thing
feel
will
like I
happen
might
again.
I might watch the event. I'm gonna wake up at like 3 a.m. to watch it, and then I'm gonna just be upset at work. But I think,
Yeah.
yeah,
When is this
let's
event?
let's see what
This
they
is
can do.
on
Sorry,
it's on third, right?
it's
When
gonna
is the
be
event?
Tuesday. I think Tuesday morning for us
Oh, okay. Cool, cool, cool.
next week. Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta watch this.
Yeah.
9th. Yeah.
Mm.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, it's on Friday.
Oh, really?
It's on 9th, right?
I think it's 6th.
Oh, 6th, sorry. My
Oh, sorry,
bad.
5th. Yeah,
I'm
6th
looking
in
at it.
America, but 5th, I believe, in
So 6th over
uh
here, 5th
yeah,
in
sorry, 6th
America.
over here, 5th in America. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes sense. That'd be very
Yeah.
interesting to see what happens.
Mm. Yeah.
This better
Yeah.
not be another Twitter. Just kidding.
I have more faith in Tim. I have more faith in Tim. I think Tim wants to make his mark. I feel like he hasn't. What has he introduced?
Hasn't done.
Apple Watch. That's
Yeah,
that's his big thing, and it hasn't been that
that's
big.
it.
So I feel like this is
It's a
his.
necessary.
Yeah,
Yeah,
this is his. This
this
is
is his
his
baby.
moment. Yeah. So yeah, don't disappoint us, Tim. Don't do it.
I really hope they don't rush into it. See, I want them to take their time to
Yeah.
release this product
Mm,
once it's ready.
yeah.
Do not release it before it's ready.
Mm,
Otherwise, I think when once people lose interest in of something,
yeah.
it's very
Yeah.
hard to get them on. Good example, Apple
Mm,
Watch, where it initially came out, was such a dud, and it was like
mm,
people didn't
yeah.
want to buy for years and years. I think
Mm,
only after Series 6, I got very interested
mm,
into buying an Apple Watch as an
yeah.
accessory to my iPhone.
Yeah.
But no,
Yeah. Yeah. They have to play it really well because well, I guess more of a question for you. Google Glass failed
yep.
because, or I'd say because it was ahead of its time, but it failed because people were not comfortable with someone having a camera on their face and walking around with it. Um,
The thing is, right?
how
See,
are they going to
we
play
live in
it?
a
Yeah.
we live in a society now where everyone has a phone, everyone has a
Mm,
camera, especially with TikTok being the
yeah.
top application. Everybody's recording everything at all
Yeah.
point, right?
Mm,
So I don't think that's the concern. The thing with
mm,
Google was, again, the Google Glass was an accessory. It was
mm,
pretty much doing the same thing as, let's say, a Google Watch or an Apple Watch does, right?
yeah.
And that's it. It can't just be an accessory. It needs to be a
Mm,
standalone product
yeah.
that
Yeah.
can uh, sort of change the whole hardware game straight away.
Mm,
Uh,
yeah.
Good example, when iPhone came out, it changed the whole phone industry in
Yeah.
one sweep. In
Mm,
one sweep, like that was the biggest thing
yeah.
that came out.
Mm,
Before that, it was BlackBerry, right?
yeah.
No innovation from their end, right? It
Mm,
was BlackBerry. Apple came out with this touchscreen, multi-touchscreen. Like touchscreen was there, but the multi-finger touchscreen, things
mm,
like that, the way how we interacted with phone completely changed.
yeah. Yeah.
And we're still based off that concept, right? We're still using our current phones.
Mm,
So
yeah.
it's just it's just one of those things. Like they have to get it correct. If
Yeah.
they don't get it correct, um, unfortunately, we'll just see them
Mm,
same path as Meta because they don't have AI going for them as well. So
yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
see,
That's a good point
once
about
they
like not being an accessory and being its own thing, its own kind of form factor. Um,
yeah,
yeah. Yeah.
it's it needs to be like I do think AI will be revolutionary.
Mm,
Sorry, AR will be revolutionary, but it needs to be done correctly
yeah.
because there's a lot of moving parts with it. And if
Yeah.
Apple does not get it correct,
Mm,
it's not gonna help. Like,
okay.
see, if it was 3,000 USD,
Mm,
I would purchase it. I would
yeah.
make sure that I purchase it if it's the right product.
Yeah.
But if it's another shit product that comes out,
Mm,
which is sort of half baked, not fully there, right?
mm,
I don't know. I don't see Apple dominating in any area because I only see them
mm,
dominating in the hardware space right now.
yeah.
Software, yes, they have good software, but
Yeah.
considering AI is going to be such a big part of our day-to-day
Mm,
life, they need
yeah.
to take over that hardware space.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
I feel so bad, but I think even if it's not amazing, I think I'm still gonna get it. I love AR too much.
I
Like it's just
think,
like, yeah. But okay,
yeah.
last question before we wrap up. Um, so it's not glasses, it's a headset, and so you can't see through it, but then they've got the cameras on the outside that will let you see what's in front of you. Um,
Yeah.
what do you think of that form factor being a mix of AR and VR versus it just being glasses that overlays things on your screen, on your glasses, sorry.
See, the approach. So one of the biggest challenges we've had with AR is having
Mm.
that glass approach, right?
Yeah.
Good example, HoloLens. It
Mm.
was it it's just too hard of a technology to work with.
Yeah.
It's not comfortable, it's too big, too bulky. We
Mm.
can't put everything into it.
Yeah.
Uh, so I see we're limited with that technology, right?
Yeah.
So maybe Apple going the path of actually utilizing cameras
Mm.
to showcase that may be a good thing.
Yeah.
A few things though they'll have to really consider with that stuff is motion sickness. We are
Mm.
still has not solved anything around motion sickness. They need to make
Mm.
sure that latency with the cameras that they have on the other end
Yeah.
uh, works perfectly. Like there has to be zero latency to
Mm.
make sure that people feel natural in in that hardware, in
Yeah.
with those goggles.
Yeah.
With the VR stuff, I don't know. I don't honestly I don't see much of a future with VR. But
Mm.
if they want to sort of achieve AR with using cameras,
Yeah.
and if they can sort of yeah solve these two issues, which is like the motion sickness and and create zero latency between that,
Mm.
I don't see a
Yeah.
problem with that at all.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I was very sad when I finally accepted that it's just really hard to get something just as glasses. But
Yeah,
I think this form factor actually has potential to make things even better. Like the fact that you can quickly switch from seeing what you see in front of you to something else completely actually sounds pretty cool. Like if you're in a situation where like you need to, I guess the motion sickness will be something to keep track of. Like just going instantly from the real world to not the real world sounds
yeah,
like, something that could be very cool. Um, so yeah, I'm interested to see how they go about it. Um,
yeah.
but yeah, I guess we'll see next week.
I guess so.
Mhm. Yeah,
We'll have a lot of
yeah,
thoughts on that day.
yeah.
But we'll
Let's wait
definitely
and
do an
see.
episode for that. Yeah.
Mm, yeah. Come on, Tim. Okay. Well, I say we wrap it up here unless you have any more predictions to make about the day.
Good. All
No,
good. See it
all
on the day
good.
now.
Yeah. Do you want to
I want
threaten
to
some
surprise
people?
myself. I just say, just considering this is a new season, new first
Mm-hmm.
episode for the new season,
Yeah. Are you turning a new
just
leaf?
like it's, huh?
Turning a new leaf?
Yeah, I'm turning a new leaf. I'm a
Mm-hmm.
changed man since then.
Okay. Yeah.
No, no, I'm fucking kidding, okay? Fucking like and subscribe. Like and subscribe. Yeah.
All right, you
No one
heard the
won't be
man.
showing up at your place.
Okay, we have all your addresses. We have all your IPs. We're like TikTok. Okay. We
Yeah,
know exactly
we
where you
track
are. We're
everything.
gathering all your information. So
We
you
work in
better
tech. Hackers in it.
yes. So like and subscribe or else we will come knocking.